Hi there, welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. Today I'm going to be working on a quick craft. As you know, I've been cleaning out my studio and I store a lot of recycled items, and my husband and I have been going room to room and purging different cupboards and closets and stuff like that. And I have been saving my Tetley tea tins. I buy my Tetley tea when it's on sale, and it comes in these little tins. And I have covered them before. I've covered them in book pages and Mod Podged them and then put on labels. And I have a few of these made with the book pages. And I also have covered some of the tins in Edith Holden book pages. So when we cleaned out the cupboard, I came across about 10 more of these tins, and my husband was about to throw them in the recycle bin, and I thought, why not cover them? I have lots of books, I have lots of scrap paper in my studio, and I thought the best thing to do with them, because I use, oh my gosh, this is getting heavy, because I use this Lazy Susan on my desktop in the corner there, and I use all of these items every day. It stays on my desktop. I thought I would cover some tins and perhaps put them around the outside of this Lazy Susan, and then I could store things in there. My glues, some of my erasers, and bits and pieces that are too small to go in some of these little holders. So what I'm going to do is take all the lids off of these tins, and they'll be open like that. So I'll be able to put things in them, and I'm just going to go through some of my book pages and see if I can find something that I would like to cover the tins in. So what I'm going to do first is remove all of the lids. I won't be needing the lids at all for this project. And if I decide not to keep the lids, I will put them in the recycle bin. So what I start with is, let's just move the tins out of the way. I get one of my fabric measuring tapes, and I'm going to measure how much of a book page, a width of a book page I need, approximately. So to go around once is 9.5, so I probably need about a 10-inch width page. So I need a page that's going to be that wide, and it's going to be approximately 3 inches high. So I'm going to need a book page that will have some kind of picture going across. And then, now the Edith Holden pages, I think I just used scraps and I put it halfway and then filled it in. And the book pages, I just tore them up. But this one, I think, I have this bird book. Let me just move my popcorn out of the way here, having a snack. I have this bird book, and it has some of these pictures in it that are collage. It's quite a large book. And it has quite a few of these book pages in it, and they're full pages of birds. And I thought, if I can get at least 2 strips out of there, maybe 3, they would look nice around the tin. So we're going to go ahead and try that. I'm going to actually rip this book page out. Actually, maybe I will cut this book page. I think this is one of those, yes it is, it has I can pull them out in full pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out a couple of these and see if they work. I'm going to make myself a template for the tin, just out of plain scrap paper for the size I need, and then I'll be able to lay it over top of these pictures to see how much of the bird is going to show wrapped around the tin. So let me just go and grab some scrap paper. So inside this book, I can actually take the signatures out as one thing. So I'm going to go and get, this is a stitch ripper that you use in sewing, and I keep this in my Lazy Susan on my desk, and I use it for a lot of things. But this book, I don't know if you can see it, it has little tiny stitches in the book, and I just get one of my stitch rippers and I get it under that, oops, see, and I don't want to do that, but I just get it underneath the stitch and pull the stitches and rip the stitches, if you will, because that's what you do when you're sewing. You want to rip the stitches out. So I'm just getting underneath that, and it's harder when the book is full. When it gets a couple of pages pulled out. It's hard to do. Just going to pull those out. And then what you do is just, looks like I missed a stitch back here. Yes, I did. Ouch. So you can pull the pages out. And I'm going to use one of these blank pages as my template for the tin. Let's see if that works. Yes, so I can pull the pages out like this. And then I'm at the end, I believe. Yes. So then you just find the next one. I think it's about 4 pages in, 5 pages in. And then all I try and do is push the book back like that so that I can get underneath and cut those stitches out. Like that. And pull. And these ones all up front, I think I'm just going to rip out. I don't believe there's any pictures in these ones. These are part of another, so I'm just going to rip one of these out for now. Okay. Set that aside for a moment. Okay. So now I need something that is 10 inches wide. And that's approximately what that is. So I'm just going to go trim down the edge really quickly here. And then the tin height was 3 inches. So I'm just going to cut something at 3 inches. So there's my little scrap, and let's see if this goes all the way around. I'm hoping it will. And what I try and do is lean it up against, there's like a little rim on the bottom of the tin, and I'm just butting the paper up against that little rim. I'm hoping that will go all the way around. And look at that. Just by about 1/4 of an inch. That will go all the way around. So I can use these book pages to go around one of my tins. So now I'll use my template and I will just kind of hold it across there. So I could probably get 1 there, 2, 3. So I could probably get 3 out of this at the 10 inches and see my book page is a little bit wider than this because I did not tear it out. I took it out as a signature. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this into 3 strips. So I have literally taken the book page over to my cutter and I just trimmed it where I wanted the top of the paper to start. So I took that much off the top, cut a 3-inch strip, a 3-inch strip, a 3-inch strip, and I'm left with this little piece for the bottom, and I'll save that in my scrap bin and perhaps use that as a collaging paper. So now I'll be able to use this piece of paper. And I'll want to start with the edge that doesn't have as many of the birds, and I might even trim this little rough piece off. But I will start by gluing it down a little bit at a time and working my way around the tin, pushing it down against that little rim on the bottom, and then where it overlaps will be there. So I will have a little birds on my tin. So I'm going to do all of my tins with this type of paper and have some little birds on them, and then they can sit around my Lazy Susan. So let's go ahead and start. Let's try some Fabri-Tac glue just because I have it handy and it grabs quickly, which is what you want for your tin. And I'm just going to put a strip along here to hold it and along the bottom, just about an inch of glue just to get it tacked. And again, we're going to start with that rough edge, the part that I am going to end up overlapping anyway, and we're just going to butt it up against the bottom edge. And what you can do is, I don't know how flat it is, but you can't. I was going to roll it along, but with the trim it doesn't work that way. So we've got our 1 inch, and we're just going to let that tack. So that'll give us our beginning of wrapping. It'll hold it steady for us and it won't move around. And then I just flip it back. And I'm going to go a little bit at a time. I'm not going to do the whole tin. I'm just going to do maybe 2 inches this time. Just so that I can make sure it's staying straight on the bottom of that tin. And you want to make sure you keep pushing it down along that rim. And get out any air bubbles. There are so many little crafts that you can do. I love to recycle, so whenever I can recycle an item rather than throwing it in the garbage, that is what I do. And I've got about 4 or 5 of these bird books, excuse me, that I wanted to use up for something, so this is perfect. I just want to keep making sure that it's up against that rim on the bottom. And you do have a second to play with that glue. That's why I like to use Fabri-Tac. You can peel it up and it will still... There we go. Let's try that last little bit there. You can use tin cans and just cover them with paper, collage them. I know you can get oatmeal in a cardboard Pringle cans, the little tiny Pringle cans. They're a nice size too for putting on, using for some of your supplies as well. So you can decorate some Pringle cans, and they are nice and light. I'm just going to push that along like that, and then I'm just going to glue this last little bit here. And I only need to overlap it about 1/4 of an inch. That down. Like that. And there we go. Got a little tin using up one of the book pages that I have. And then once this dries a little bit more, just give it a couple minutes to dry. And you can use this eraser. This is a gum eraser, and I use this to get the glue off of my fingers. I just rub my fingers along the top of this and get all that glue off. It just pulls all the glue off really well that you end up with on your fingers. And once this is dry, I'm just going to run this along the top of the tin can and the bottom of the tin can and take off any of the excess glue that's oozed out. It'll just rub it off. And it won't be sticky. There's some there. See, it's just kind of bubbled up a little bit. You just rub it and it pulls it off. It's nice and gummy. And it doesn't hurt your paper. As long as you do it gently, it doesn't hurt anything. It just pulls that gummy glue off. There. And there is one tin done. So I'm going to go ahead and work on these 2 other ones, glue them up, and then I will cut some more of my paper. Okay, so I've gone ahead and chosen my pages and cut them into 3-inch strips. And I might have a couple more than 10 here, but this gives me some options. And then the pages that I cut off the other side, these are just words. Now this paper is really nice and thick, so I will save this and use this for something else. You can make envelopes and pockets and use these as book pages as well, because there's a lot of blank space on these. So you could make this into some kind of a pocket with like that inside a book. So I keep these blank pages. Whenever I find a book that has nice, sturdy, strong pages, I will keep the paper and use them for something else. So this will go in my paper stash and I will keep that, but I will go ahead and start gluing on some more of these covers for the tins. Okay, I'm working on the last tin, whoops, with my Fabri-Tac glue. And I'm just going to get it started. And I think I'm going to use this one. I just take my rag and push that edge down. And we'll keep working around the corners. I just want to make sure I keep that right on that little lip and keep the paper tight. Just going to rub the glue off my thumb there. There we go. All right, keep that little one down. Keeping it up against that edge. And then we'll just add the last little bit here. Put my lid on my glue. And let's just make sure that that stays put. And again, I'm going to go around the bottoms and I'm just going to rub my eraser and it'll get rid of any of the gummy stuff that's along the bottoms. But that is the last one. I've done 10 tins. So we've got some nice tins to sit around my Lazy Susan. And I can add some of my little loose bits and pieces. And the first one we did with all the little chickadees. And there we go. So there are my 10 tins. I have a couple of extra pages, some of the pictures I didn't use. So I'm finished all of the 10 tins using the little pieces of bird pages. I'm just going to set these aside. I really like how they turned out. And you can collage these a little bit. You can add, before you glue them on, if you take your strip of paper, you can stamp things and collage things a little bit more onto the paper before you glue it on. I just liked the paper. It looks very old and vintage. It's actually, the pictures are actually from the 1800s. I believe there is something on the bottom of one of the pages. See if I can find something with the names on the bottom. It actually did have a date, 1915, the fellow that drew these, Thorburn. So these are very old pictures. It's just somebody's republished them. So I finished the 10 tins. I do have quite a few pages left over of some different birds. I think I'm going to divide them into, I'll take maybe 3 or 4 pages of each one. So maybe some eagles, some I believe there's some seagulls in here somewhere. So I have quite a few pages left over, some seabirds there. That was lovely with all the colors in it. This one I just love. So I think I'm going to take three pictures. There's some swans. Make 3 different piles, so 9 pages. And if you want to leave a comment below in the video that you might be interested in receiving the pictures, I'd be happy to send them out to anyone who's interested in them. So just leave a comment and then I'll randomly pick 3 winners and just send out some of the pages to 3 people. I just have so many of them, and I have another bird book that I'm ripping up as well that will have a lot more pictures too, and I might do something with those and then give some more of the pictures away. I also have this is all the white pages that I have left over, and again, it's very sturdy paper, so I might end up making some envelopes or using these in journals as well, but maybe collaging them a bit and using them as collage paper. But so I do have a stack of those, but if you're interested in receiving 3 pages of these, and I'll put a variety, and I'll put some eagles and some seabirds and that type of thing in there, please leave a comment below and I will definitely pick some winners and get those sent out to you. And I will send them as full pages. I will put them in a large envelope if I can and send them that way. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be finishing off some more of the little booklets. I did a video on these little mini booklets, and I'm now working on the miniature versions, and I am sewing those with embroidery floss, and I'm just using a pamphlet stitch on the side. Let's see if I can find the middle there. So the little ones I'm going to use embroidery floss just to make them a little prettier, but and I might do a giveaway with some of the little pamphlets books as well a little bit later on. But what I'm doing is I'm just crafting, and then I make quite a few, and I have some left over. So I'm just going to start destashing. So my way of destashing is giving them out to some of my friends and followers who are watching and who like to do creative things as well. So thank you again so much for watching, and we'll hope to see you real soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye now.